Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. I hope you're having a fantastic day. This is the second candle review that is actually going live on my channel today. It's a little candle review day here, if you will. A little earlier, I shared my thoughts on the brand new Homeworks Moroccan Pomegranate fragrance. So if you are interested in that, I will go ahead and link that review in the description box right below this video here. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you hit that red subscribe button right below this video. That way you will be notified of all of my future candle review content as it goes up live here on my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about a new fragrance from Kringle Country Candle for spring summer 2024, and this here is Charred Pineapple. I do want to let you guys know that this particular candle was sent to me in PR, so I did not pay for this particular one. All opinions are obviously still my own. I do have a discount code with Kringle Candle if you are interested in purchasing this or any of the other candles on the website. My discount code is Melanie15. I'll put a link to where to shop with Kringle in the description box as well. That code works with most sales, but not every single sale. So it's always worth popping it in as you go to checkout to see if you can save yourself a little bit more money. But without further ado, you guys, let's talk about Charred Pineapple. So before we really get into this one, I have to let you guys know that pineapple is one of those fragrance notes that I really personally struggle with when it comes to home fragrance. I actually appreciated receiving this one in PR because this is not one that I would have purchased myself at all. I don't even think that I would have picked it up in the daylight because I just have such a natural aversion to pineapple. And what's funny is that I love eating it. I love pineapple. I just personally have found that when it comes to pineapple in home fragrance, that a lot of times it smells just really artificial, or honestly just so sweet to the point that it is kind of cloying and unbearable for me. And I have to say that while I don't personally think this is one that I will repurchase myself, I have actually somewhat enjoyed this particular pineapple because it's not that super overly sweet pineapple that just automatically just turns me off completely from the fragrance. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and tackle this review in the normal fashion. We're gonna read through the fragrance notes. I'm going to tell you what my nose picks up. I'm going to tell you what the strength and throw is, as well as what the overall performance has been on this one. Now, for the most part, I have actually been burning this in our backyard. We have a really nice covered patio, and honestly, we just kind of live on that like back patio area for most of the year. So this one has lived most of its life out there, but I have also burned it inside the house just to get a really accurate sense of what the strength and throw is, but we'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to that part of the video. All right, I will say currently the large jar, at least at the time that I'm filming this, which is on, what is today, Tuesday, Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday, and this video is going up on Sunday. Right now, the large jar is sold out, so this seems to be a pretty popular fragrance here. This should be returning when the spring summer fragrances come out and they sell out. Kringle does restock these because these are intended to be, you know, like the core fragrances for the spring and summer. So you will see this one come back in the large jar. I don't have a date quite yet, but I will try to remember to notify you guys on maybe my community tab. But it is available in the medium jar and in the daylights. The wax melts are also sold out. Again, the wax melts should be restocked. So, and the good news is that the spring summer fragrances are now being included in some of the sales. So currently the medium jar is retailing for $22 and the large jar is retailing for $26. So typically when new fragrances come out, I've mentioned this in the earlier reviews, It takes Kringle about a month or two before including them in the sales. That's pretty typical for them, but it looks like they are now a part of the sales. So let's read through these fragrance notes. I'm gonna start with their description, and then we'll go through the individual notes. Okay, charred pineapple. Experience the tropical paradise with the essence of fresh pineapple juice and succulent mango, while vine-ripened raspberry and juicy melon infuse an irresistible sweetness, bringing a hint of creamy coconut and the warmth of peach to evoke the perfect island getaway. So your top notes here are fresh pineapple juice and mango. The mid notes are vine-ripened raspberry and juicy melon. And the base is creamy coconut and peach. All right, so this is a really interesting fragrance to me because I actually, and I don't know where I'm getting it, but I am detecting a slight green note in this. And I have from the get-go, even just on my cold sniff impression of it, it's almost like they included the, I believe it's called the crown of the pineapple, like the top part, like this. Are they pineapple spears? No, that's when you cut the pineapple up. It's just the top green part. It's almost like that was ground into the pineapple juice, if that makes sense. And it's coming across as just kind of a really pleasant, almost green type note. Now, in terms of these top notes of fresh pineapple juice and mango, absolutely. There is a fresh pineapple in here, but it's not overly sweet, you guys. It almost smells like the pineapple isn't like at peak ripeness quite yet. You know how when you cut into a pineapple and like it's ripe, but it's not soft yet? I really prefer to eat my pineapple when it is like quite soft, almost like squishy, if you will. I think that's when a pineapple tastes the best, but it's also when it has the most intense sweetness. So this to me smells like the pineapple maybe right after it's picked and before it has like completely fully ripened. So I actually like that because again, we're staying away from kind of that overly sweet cloying pineapple with that. The mango, I do detect just a touch of mango in here, but it's not super strong. Honestly, I feel like with regard to most of these notes that we're gonna run through here, the pineapple really is the star. If you are looking at these notes and you're like, oh yay, you know, there's gonna be a lot of melon in here, there's gonna be a lot of mango. I mean, maybe there will be to your nose, but there just isn't to mine. In terms of this vine-ripened raspberry, I get zero raspberry at all, but I do get a really nice melon note. I feel like it's almost like a honeydew type of melon note. Again, not overly sweet, but a great note to kind of help to counteract maybe that, you know, overly sweet, slightly sour pineapple again. The creamy coconut, yes, there is definitely a detectable coconut in here. I don't think it's really like coconut meat per se. I think it's more of like a touch of like almost like a coconut milk. And peach I don't get at all. So the, I guess like more non-tropical notes are just not really detectable to my nose. But this is a really lovely take on pineapple that I can actually personally get behind. Now, get behind enough for me to repurchase it? Probably not. There are just a lot of other more tropical fragrance notes that I personally tend to gravitate towards. But I do think that if you are a fan of pineapple in general and you want to try a pineapple that's maybe a little bit different from most, this would absolutely be worth checking out. If you're at all hesitant or unsure about it, definitely go for the daylight first since the wax melts are sold out. That way you can at least experience the fragrance before committing to either a medium or a large jar when that comes back into stock. In terms of strength and throw, all right, guys, so the strength and throw here in my house, I would say is a pretty solid 6. I don't think it's any more than a 6. That's okay with me, because of the type of fragrance that this is and it not being in my usual wheelhouse, it's definitely a room filler. But it doesn't travel too terribly far outside of the room. So because of that, I would put it in more of like the 6 range as well. So it's a good solid medium performer. Do keep in mind that I live in more of an open concept, very high ceiling style of home. And so for me, you know, candles really have to have a lot of oomph or power behind them to be able to travel and to really truly fill the space. But this has actually been performing incredibly well in our backyard. I've gotten a ton of compliments from our friends about this particular scent. We really do love hanging out back there. We have a TV that's hanging up under the covered patio area, and we have this really nice stone fireplace. And so, you know, Craig will often have his friends come over and, you know, I'll make dinner for everyone and we'll just kind of hang out back there. And several of his friends have been like, that actually smells really good. So it's kind of a popular fragrance amongst our friends. And it fills like our covered patio area really quite well. I have I think it's the London Hurricane that I have this in the backyard, just sitting on the table. And like it's performing well out there. So I think this is a good solid medium performer. I personally wouldn't want any more from this. If you did, I would say add in the wax melts for a little extra oomph, but I think it's perfectly fine the way that it is. Now let's talk overall burn performance. So there still seems to be a little bit of a hit and miss type situation when it comes to the wicks with Country Candle. If you're not familiar, the Country Candle jars used to actually be 100% paraffin, and then they switched over to their 100% soy formula. Now, when you start adding in colors into the soy, it can change the burn, and so you have to play with the wicks a little bit. And in this particular situation, I think that the wicks are still not quite perfected. I actually think that the wicks on this one are working pretty great. So I just lit this before beginning this review, so it hasn't completely pulled out. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn this just so that you can see like the flames that I'm dealing with here. Now I do trim the very, very tops where a little bit of like that carbon residue collects. But I don't trim these wicks aggressively at all. So as long as I don't get aggressive with the trimming, they're holding up quite well on this charred pineapple here. I'm seeing a lot more residue being left on the side of the jar on this one, but I honestly think that is because it is burning outside. It is still pretty cold here in Oregon most days. I mean, we've had a couple of like 70, 75 degree days, but for the most part, it's still pretty cold out. And so I do think that that is causing some of the residue to just kind of hang on to the side here. But in terms of the wicks, no problems. From the get-go here to just about the halfway point, I have not had any problems with the wicks on this one at all. So I would say these are doing pretty good. If you have this one, definitely let me know if you are struggling with your wicks. That is absolutely information that if you're dealing with any of these Country Candles and you're just not finding the wicks to be like working properly for you, please pass that information on to Kringle. If there's one thing that they are really great about, it is accepting feedback and making changes. I know that it's very important to Mick to keep his customers happy. And if you're struggling with the wicks, let them know so that they have a sense of which candles they need to go back and, you know, kind of rework a little bit before maybe they re-pour or, you know, before they re-release them for next year or whatever. So, but for me, the wicks on this one have been great. The overall burn quality has been fantastic. I leave my Country Candles lit for probably about 4 or 5 hours. I try not to go too far beyond 4 hours, to be honest. I think that limiting the burn on these is still kind of the best thing. I do not limit the burn on my 2-wick like tumbler jars, the ones with the white wax, just the regular Kringle candles. Those I can usually go for hours and hours, and I have no problem with discoloration or sooting or the wicks or anything like that. But because the country candle just had that changeover recently, I still think there are some things that they can review here and correct. So overall, I've had a pretty good experience with this one, despite it not being my favorite type of fragrance. I really appreciated receiving this one, even though, you know, it's not in my usual wheelhouse. It's kind of nice to burn something different. And honestly, it's been lovely to have in the backyard. And like I said, everybody else that comes over has just really enjoyed this one. And I know that a couple of my friends actually, I think, ordered some of the wax melts to put into their warmers. So anyway, I'm gonna give this one a thumbs up because it's, you know, it's been doing quite well for me, but I'm not gonna give it 2 thumbs up because it's just not the type of fragrance that I typically gravitate towards. But if you're interested in trying it and you love pineapple scents, I think it's worth checking out. And if you would share your experience in the comments down below, that would be super helpful. That way other people can review, and maybe that will help them make a decision about whether they want to invest in this one or not. And like I said, if you have feedback to pass along to Kringle, leave the reviews on their website if you're comfortable with that, or maybe even send customer service an email. I know that they definitely welcome feedback. Obviously be constructive, not rude. I think that should go without saying, but I don't know, these days I think people are a lot more aggressive with certain things. But anyway, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. I do have one more review that's going to be going up a little bit later on today, and it is a Bath & Body Works Vanilla Coconut Surf, which I think actually might be not available on the website anymore. Maybe I waited a little too long to review that one, but I have still seen it at my local store, so I'm still gonna review it, but that is what's coming up next. So again, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.